Just by adding cinnamon and sugar to water, you are sending out a very clear message. You are ready to welcome good fortune and prosperity. Hello, I am Master Zhen. Today I want to share with you a very short and simple ritual that is often overlooked because of how ordinary it seems. This is not a ritual where you are begging or pleading for something from the outside world. Instead, it is a gentle way to send a clear message to yourself. I allow my life to become easier, more stable, and more abundant. This ritual uses 3 very familiar items from everyday life: cinnamon, sugar, and water. And because they are so common, most people do not realize that when combined the right way, they can become a powerful signal to both your subconscious mind and the environment around you. Cinnamon brings warmth. It helps awaken movement when things start to feel stuck. Sugar adds sweetness. It reminds us to let life feel less stressful and less harsh. And water has long been seen as a symbol of flow, of continuity, and the ability to receive energy. When these 3 elements come together, they do not create instant magic. What they do is restart an energy current that has been stuck for too long, so that luck and new opportunities can return in a more natural way. Before we go any further, I invite you to write a positive affirmation in the comments as a way to confirm this for yourself. You can write something like, "I am ready to receive abundance with ease and stability." If you feel that content like this brings you peace of mind and long-term value, make sure to subscribe to Master Zhen, Feng Shui Secrets for Wealth, so we can keep exploring simple rituals that can bring about positive change over time. So, how do you actually perform this ritual? Right now, without making you wait any longer, I am going to guide you through each step in the simplest way, so you can follow along and feel the first gentle movement of good fortune. Before we get into the steps, we need to prepare a few very familiar materials, nothing complicated or hard to find. In fact, this simplicity is what makes the ritual easy to do, easy to remember, and easy for anyone to apply. First, a bowl or cup dedicated only to this ritual. This bowl or cup does not have to be new. It also does not need to be made from any special material or have high value. You can use a ceramic bowl, a glass cup, or anything you already have at home. What matters is not how it looks, but that you use it solely for this ritual. Do not mix it with your daily use for eating or cooking. When an object is set aside for a specific purpose, it slowly becomes a kind of anchor in terms of habit and energy. Every time you see or hold that bowl, your mind will naturally associate it with stillness and with your intention to welcome abundance and stability. This helps the ritual remain clear, undiluted, and easy to connect with emotionally. You do not need to perform any complex ceremony to initiate the bowl or cup. Just rinse it with water, dry it off, and set it aside for ritual use only. That is enough. This simplicity is what makes the ritual sustainable and light to carry out. If you make things too complicated, your mind may become tense, and that will take away the calm and ease that this ritual is meant to bring. Having a dedicated bowl or cup also helps create a clear boundary between daily life and the moment of practice. It is a gentle way to tell yourself, "This is the moment I pause, I pay attention, and I allow a new flow to begin." You do not need blind faith, just consistency and clarity in your actions. Second, a pinch of ground cinnamon, about 10 grams. When you hear 10 grams, many people worry about how to measure it exactly. In reality, there is no need to stress. In daily practice, 10 grams of ground cinnamon is roughly equal to 1 full teaspoon. Close enough is good enough. This ritual is not about precision, but about intention. Cinnamon was not chosen for this ritual because it is rare or expensive. It is chosen because it is a familiar ingredient in everyday life. That familiarity plays an important role because when we work with things that feel close and familiar, we feel more at ease, less doubtful, and more likely to stick with the practice long term. A ritual only becomes meaningful when you can repeat it naturally, without pressure. You can use pre-ground cinnamon bought from the store, or grind it yourself from cinnamon sticks if you already have them at home. Both options work just fine and do not make a significant difference. What does matter is that the cinnamon still has its natural scent, is not damp or clumped together, and has not been sitting too long to the point of losing its fragrance. A light, pleasant aroma is enough. There is no need for it to be overly strong. There is also no need to look for rare or expensive cinnamon. In this ritual, the value of the ingredient does not come from the brand or where it came from, but from its consistency and suitability. When you use something that is easy to find and easy to replace, you will not feel dependent or stressed each time you prepare it. And that makes the ritual feel much lighter. Third, a pinch of sugar, about 20 grams. In everyday life, this amount of sugar is roughly equal to 1 full tablespoon. Again, it does not have to be exact, just close enough. This ritual is not about chasing numbers, but about finding the right balance. You can use regular white sugar or raw cane sugar. Both are perfectly fine and do not make a big difference during preparation. What matters is that the sugar is clean, dry, and free of moisture or impurities. A simple and clean ingredient will help you feel more comfortable as you step into the ritual. Sugar is one of the most familiar materials in daily life. Its sweetness is tied to a sense of comfort, stability, and lightness. That familiarity makes the preparation process feel more approachable, not strange or heavy. When people work with things they know well, the mind is usually more open and less resistant. There is no need to choose a fancy or expensive sugar. In this ritual, the value of an ingredient does not lie in how it looks or what label it carries, but in how accessible and fitting it is. When you use what you already have at home, the ritual becomes easier to maintain and does not create pressure each time you do it. Fourth, clean water. When we say clean water, you do not need to go find any kind of special or pricey water. Just use your regular household water, as long as it is clear, has no strange smell, and you feel confident using it. You only need a small amount, about 150 to 250 milliliters, which is roughly half to 1 cup, or about 5 to 8 fluid ounces. This is just the right amount to keep the ritual simple and neat, without waste. In Feng Shui and in simple rituals, the idea of just enough is always more important than more is better. You do not need to boil the water or chill it beforehand. Room temperature water is best. Keeping the water in its natural state helps make the preparation process easy and avoids unnecessary steps. This ritual is all about ease, and your preparation should reflect that spirit. What matters most when it comes to water is not the type you use, but how you feel about it. If it is the same water you drink every day and you trust that it is clean, then it is completely suitable. When people feel safe with an ingredient, the mind is more relaxed and more ready to enter into ritual. At this point, all the materials are ready. Now we are going to move into the most important part of the ritual. I will walk you through each step clearly and simply, so you can follow along right away and begin to feel the first signs of good fortune starting to move. Step 1. Pour the water into the cup. Pick up your cup and pour in the water you prepared. There is no need to rush, and you do not have to worry about pouring too quickly or too slowly. Just pour naturally, the same way you would in everyday life. This familiarity helps keep your mind calm and avoids the pressure of feeling like you need to do it right. Once the water is in the cup, place the cup down in front of you. Just set it down and leave it there. At this stage, do not stir it, do not touch it again, and do not adjust anything. Simply placing the cup down is a clear signal. The ritual has begun. Many people have the urge to do something right away because we are used to constantly being in motion. But in this ritual, not doing anything extra is exactly what is needed. When you put the cup down and pause for a moment, you are creating a small space for things to settle. If your mind is still thinking, still worried or feeling distracted in this moment, that is completely normal. There is no need to force those thoughts away. Just leave the cup sitting in front of you and allow yourself to pause in the present moment. Step 2. Add the sugar and cinnamon. Start by adding the sugar to the cup of water. Just add it in and pause briefly. There is no need to rush, and you do not need to move in one continuous action. This short pause helps you stay aware that you are taking things step by step, rather than rushing to get it over with. When the ritual has rhythm, your mind can follow it more easily. Next, add the cinnamon to the cup. Just like with the sugar, you add it in calmly. No need to be forceful or quick. What matters here is not the motion itself, but the clarity, that you know what you are doing and which part of the ritual you are in. Once both the sugar and cinnamon are in the cup, pick up a spoon and begin to stir. Stir in a clockwise direction, making 9 full circles. Do not go too fast or too slow, just keep a steady rhythm. Each circle is a complete motion, giving a feeling of wholeness and flow. Count quietly in your mind until you reach 9. There is no need to stress or be perfectly precise with every motion. As you stir, you do not need to focus on any specific outcome, and you do not have to visualize anything particular. Just stay focused on the motion of your hand and the feeling of stirring the mixture in the cup. When your attention is anchored in a simple action, the mind naturally becomes less scattered and more stable. If, while stirring, you go a bit faster or slower than intended, that is totally fine. This ritual is not about perfection. What matters is that you follow the correct order, complete the 9 circles, and stay calm and centered throughout. When you have stirred 9 times, set the spoon down and stop. Do not stir anymore. Do not adjust or check anything. Stopping at the right moment gives the ritual a clear boundary and prevents it from dragging on unnecessarily. Step 3. Say your affirmation. Look at the cup of water in front of you. You do not need to stare or try to feel anything special. Just let your gaze rest there. When your attention is gathered in one place, the mind will naturally settle down, even just a little, and that is enough to begin this step. Now, speak your affirmation. You do not need to speak loudly, and you do not need to whisper. Just speak clearly, slowly, and in a way that you can hear your own voice. An affirmation is not a plea or a promise to someone else. It is something you say to yourself. Say the affirmation 3 times. After each time, pause briefly before saying it again. These short pauses keep your words from rushing by too quickly, and they help you stay fully present in the ritual. You can use simple affirmations such as, "I allow abundance to enter my life. Money comes to me with ease and stability. My home is a place of fullness and peace." You do not need to change the wording or search for flowery phrases. Simple, clear, and familiar words are often easier for the mind to absorb. What matters is not poetic language, but your presence, saying the words slowly without distraction. If, while speaking, you feel unsure or a little hesitant, that is completely normal. There is no need to correct or redo anything. Just keep going at your own pace. This ritual does not ask for perfection. It asks for consistency and honesty. After you say the affirmation for the 3rd time, pause. There is no need to say anything else or repeat it silently in your mind. Just let there be a moment of quiet. This pause gives your words time to settle instead of being drowned out by your next thoughts. Step 4. Set the cup down and leave it for 24 hours. Gently pick up the cup of water and place it in the spot you have already chosen, usually near a doorway or a window. These are places where natural air flows and energy tends to move. You do not need to arrange it carefully or make it look special. Just place it down simply. Neatness and quiet are enough. Once the cup is in place, leave it there for the next 24 hours. During this time, you do not need to touch the cup, you do not need to stir it again, and you do not need to repeat your affirmations. At this stage of the ritual, you are not supposed to do more. You are simply meant to leave it alone. Letting the cup sit for 24 hours symbolizes giving what you have started time to spread out and settle in. Many people are used to checking, adjusting, or redoing things when they do not see results right away. But in this ritual, patience is an important part of the process. Throughout these 24 hours, go about your day as usual. You do not need to keep thinking about the cup, and you do not need to look for any special signs. The less you focus on it with expectation, the more naturally the energy can move. If someone in your home asks about the cup, you do not need to explain much. Just know that you are completing your own ritual. Keeping the ritual quiet helps protect it from being disrupted by outside opinions or thoughts. Once the 24 hours have passed, you can return to the cup and carry out the final step. Until then, your only task is to leave the cup where it is and let everything unfold at its own pace. This ritual does not ask for pressure, because anything meant to last takes time to settle. Step 5. Closing the ritual. After the cup of water has been left undisturbed for 24 hours, the ritual reaches its final step. This step is not about creating any new effect. It is about closing things clearly and neatly. Ending the ritual the right way makes it feel complete instead of open-ended or unfinished. Gently pick up the cup of water. There is no need to overthink it, and you do not have to wait for any kind of sign. Just know that the required amount of time has passed, and now it is time to bring the ritual to a close. Pour the water down a regular drain, such as the kitchen sink. As the water flows away, there is no need to say any affirmation or think about releasing anything specific. Just let the water flow naturally. This is a simple and clear closing action. After that, rinse the cup with water as you normally would. There is no need for any special cleansing or extra rituals. Washing the cup is a signal that the ritual is complete and that you are returning to your daily life. At this point, many people begin to wonder whether they did everything correctly or whether they should repeat the process. But there is no need to check or evaluate anything. If you followed the steps and ended the ritual at the right time, then it has already served its purpose. It is important to remember, this ritual is not meant to bring instant results. It is not something you measure in a day or two. It is simply a gentle way to mark the end of a stagnant phase and open the door to a slower, more stable chapter of life. After the ritual is complete, go about your life as usual. You do not need to repeat anything in your head. You do not need to tell others about it, and you certainly do not need to watch anxiously for results. Too much expectation often pulls the mind back into its old patterns. This ritual needs softness to work effectively. If, in the days that follow, you feel a little lighter, more grounded, or find yourself seeing things with a greater sense of ease, take that as a natural sign of internal adjustment. And if you do not feel anything noticeable right away, that is perfectly okay too. Everyone moves at their own pace. The ritual may be complete, but the flow you have just reopened is still moving. There are a few important things to keep in mind after the ritual to help that flow continue in a gentle and uninterrupted way. The first is, do not rush to look for results. This ritual was not designed to create immediate change in just 1 or 2 days. It works slowly, first adjusting your inner rhythm before it shows any outer reflection. If you keep asking, "Has anything happened yet?" you are actually returning to a place of tension, which only slows the flow down. The second thing is, do not replay the ritual in your mind. Once it is done, leave it be. There is no need to repeat your affirmations every day, to visualize the steps again, or to keep checking if you did it perfectly. When the ritual is, complete, the best thing you can do is live normally, but with a lighter attitude. Another very important point is to avoid sharing every detail of the ritual with people who are skeptical or dismissive. Not because the ritual is some kind of secret, but because everyone has their own way of seeing things. Doubt, criticism, or negative comments can shake your energy, and that disturbance is exactly what interrupts the flow. If you do want to share, do so only with someone you feel completely safe and comfortable talking to. After the ritual, you do not need to make any big life changes. Just start with small things. Keep your space a little tidier, stick to your routines more consistently, and avoid complaining about money or lack. Repeating those complaints is one of the fastest ways to pull your mind back to the old state. If, in the following days, you notice yourself feeling calmer, worrying less, or viewing things with more ease, take that as a good sign. Do not exaggerate it, and do not try to give it too much meaning. Just acknowledge it and continue living at your natural pace. On the other hand, if you do not feel any clear change yet, that is totally normal. Everyone moves differently. This ritual is not a competition to see who gets results faster. What matters is that you have marked a turning point, and from that point, things will begin to adjust in ways that suit you best. Finally, remember, this ritual does not replace action in real life. It helps reopen the flow, but what you do with that flow still depends on how you live, how you think, and how you treat yourself every day. When your mind becomes lighter, your decisions naturally become wiser, and that is where true abundance begins to grow. This ritual of adding cinnamon and sugar to water is not something far-fetched or overly mystical. It is simple, familiar, and perhaps because of that, it is often overlooked. But when you go through each step mindfully, what you gain is not just a ritual, it is a moment of pause where you give abundance a real chance to return to your life. Prosperity does not always arrive through big changes. Sometimes it begins when your thoughts feel lighter, your pace slows down, and your view of the world softens. When the inner flow is realigned, the outer world will start shifting too, naturally and without force. If you have stayed with me until now, I invite you to take a moment and write a positive affirmation in the comments as a quiet commitment to yourself. You can write, "I allow abundance and peace to stay in my life for the long term," or choose any words that make you feel safe and grounded when you read them back. If this kind of content gives you a sense of peace and lasting value, make sure to subscribe to Master Zhen, Feng Shui Secrets for Wealth, so we can continue exploring simple rituals together that can create steady, lasting shifts in your life and your family's prosperity. Thank you for staying with me. Until the end, I wish you a life that is always full, peaceful, and steady on your path.